Okay, we're live. Hope everyone is having a good Saturday morning. Better drink some water. Crystal guys are only the best, right? Okay, so let's talk about some program updates. Not specifically with me, but with the science in general, okay? Um, hey, 2 viewers already. Everyone, feel free to ask questions, and more towards the end of the video, I will answer any questions you have if you want to drop them in the chat. Okay? I don't have my computer up, but let's see here. Okay, that'll be fine. Okay, so some important program updates. Okay, one of the most important ones is the addition of lecithin. Okay, so what we're using lecithin for the most part at this time is just to slow down detox symptoms. Okay, it's not very often that we actually add supplements to the program. Okay, the last supplement I can remember us adding before lecithin was actually TMG. Okay, we added TMG about 2 to 3 years ago. I had already been on the program and been a practitioner for 2 or 3 years before we added TMG. So it's not very often at all, you guys, that we add supplements to the program. Okay, partially because the programs are pretty basic. We don't need a lot to heal the body, and most supplements are too yin, and they're going to interfere. They're going to interfere with the rest of the program. Okay, so TMG, that was the last one we added about 2 3 years ago, just because it helped people a lot and it wasn't interfering with the other supplements. Okay, so lecithin is the most recent one. Although in some ways it's not a new addition because it resembles ICMN, which is an older supplement that Endomit used to have. So Endomit used to have a similar supplement that had lecithin in it, and we used to give it to people that were experiencing bad detox, basically. How lecithin basically works is that it's kind of similar to like charcoal, I would say. You know how like if you have like food poisoning or something like that, like you take charcoal, activated charcoal, and it'll subside some of the symptoms associated with like the food poisoning, or if you had like if you ate something like toxic or something like that. So lecithin is like a gentle, it's kind of like chelation in some ways. Like lecithin like wraps itself around things and kind of escorts it out of your body. Basically, is the best way to think of it. And it's not too toxic and it's not too yin. And you can add it pretty safely to the program without interfering with the rest of the program. So yeah, we like the lecithin. So if you're watching this and you're experiencing bad detox symptoms, you can add lecithin to your program. The best brand that we use right now is Now Foods. Now Foods is a pretty good brand. Will it slow down progress a bit? That's a good question. I don't think. I think it would. If I had to guess, I would say that it probably will slow down progress a little bit. If I had to guess. Um, so I would only use it if you're experiencing like bad detox symptoms. Like me myself, I don't usually experience that bad a detox. I'll retrace sinus infections and stuff like that. But as far as like actual like copper detox symptoms and stuff like that, I don't tend to get that bad of symptoms. So for me personally, I probably will not be adding lecithin. Okay. Um, I would say lecithin is most important for people on limb-cumin. Limb-cumin, in my experience, is the supplement that causes more detox than anything. Is the limb-cumin, okay? And some people have trouble handling the detox that the limb-cumin builds up. So if you have a low sodium to potassium ratio, we give something called limb-cumin, which is a multivitamin. It's vitamin C. Is a big part of it. It's got a little bit of copper in it. It's got a little bit of manganese and a few other things. And its main thing is that it's a small multivitamin to increase your sodium potassium ratio, which is a very important ratio on the hair test. Okay, and when your ratio is low, that's a sign of low vitality. And so anytime you give something to raise that level, it's going to cause some detox just because you're getting healthier and your body has enough adaptive energy to start detoxing more. So in my experience, limb-cumin probably more so than any other supplement causes detox, actually. And so lecithin, I think, is especially important if you're getting detox from taking limcomin, okay? Whether it be copper detox symptoms, mercury, aluminum, although copper is usually um, the most common one. Yeah, yeah. So you could, Charlotte, you should try giving your son some lecithin, actually. Um, if he's getting really bad copper detox symptoms from the limcomin, I would try the lecithin because it's not going to slow down his progress a lot, and it might be worth it. Um, if you want, you can email me and I'll let you know the dosage. I would just take it should be on Dr. Wilson's website now if you go to lecithin, and it'll give you the adult dosage that we recommend. It's also on the new program sheets that I give to clients. It says the recommended lecithin dosage for adults. For a child, I would just use it depends on their body weight, but so if like their body weight is like half of that of an adult, I would give them like close to half a dosage. So I would use about the same ratio, just depending on their body weight, and that might help your child when they're experiencing the copper symptoms. Okay. So lecithin, that's probably the biggest one lately. Is just adding that to the programs. Other significant ones that we've added as of late are things like not wanting to cook a lot, like stir fry with olive oil. I do have to ask for clarification from Dr. Wilson. I'm not sure at this time if it's very specifically olive oil, and if frying with other olive or other oils, I should say, are okay. Like if you stir fry with like corn oil or like hemp seed oil, or like I know coconut oil is too yin. Um, so I'll have to ask him if it's specifically olive oil that's causing the toxins that he's worried about, or if it's just oil in general. I mean, I still fry with olive oil sometimes. I'm not too worried about it. And if you do it especially like once in a while, I don't think that using olive oil heat. Yeah, olive oil is used a lot in baking vegetables. That's true. So I'll have to ask him if it's specifically olive oil or he's worried about cooking in any oil. I don't know why it would be olive oil specifically that's causing the toxins he's worried about from over frying, but it could be maybe it's just specifically olive oil. I'm not, again, I should email him for clarification. Okay. Other things we've added recently is like the salt rub. This is similar to the kelp wrap. Okay. So kelp wrap is a procedure that we added 2 or 3 years ago. Similar to like around the same time frame as the TMG, I believe. I think it came a little bit after. And that's just a procedure where you're taking kelp and you're rubbing it on your body, and you're basically leaving it. So you make a kelp paste. So basically, it's just like you boil a bunch of kelp, then you add some wheat flour, any sort of flour really, and then you mix it all up and it makes it sticky, and then you basically just rub yourself with kelp, and then you let it dry on your body for 2-3 hours. And what that does is basically you absorb nutrients through the skin. Okay, so it's similar to like the sauna action. When you're in the sauna, you're going to be sweating out a lot of toxins through the skin. And when you do the kelp wrap, it's basically the same action in reverse. So instead of pushing out toxins, you're absorbing nutrients through the skin. Okay. So your skin's your largest organ, and not only can it expel toxins, but you can also absorb nutrients. Okay. And so the kelp wrap is actually very powerful. Okay. And the salt rub is similar to that. I don't know if it's more or less powerful. I think in some ways it's easier to do. It's probably a little bit less messy. I think it might be better for people with EMF sensitivity to do salt rubs, just because salt is pretty grounding. But it's basically the same thing. Okay, so you're gonna take a bunch of salt and you're gonna mix it up with like flour or something, make it sticky, and then you're gonna rub yourself. You're gonna rub a bunch of salt into your skin. Okay. And it's the same thing as the kelp. The main effect is just absorbing nutrients and minerals into the skin, into the body. Okay, because similar to kelp, the salt has a lot of minerals in it. Okay, has the macro minerals, has the trace minerals, especially that we're really after, and it's going to do similar effect to the kelp. And it's going to be good to absorb that into your body. And it's going to speed up healing and development. Okay, so the kelp or the salt rub is a new addition as well. Okay. Another new addition we've added is pressure cooking. Okay. So pressure cooking really was about a year ago or 2 years ago. It used to be that the most common method for making vegetables that we liked was just like steaming. Okay. That was like like the best type of one. But now we like pressure cooking a lot. It actually makes your food a little bit healthier. It actually is more yang. It's more condensing of the nutrients of the. It's more condensing for the food. Other benefits are also just practicality. You can heat up a pressure cooker really quickly. It's not a lot of cleanup, and it's good all around in that regard. Okay, so that's another one we added. So we've got lecithin. We've got mostly pressure cooking. We've added that we don't really like, like stir frying with olive oil or roasting with olive oil a lot. The salt rubs is another more recent one. I would say those are the major things. The diet is still roughly the same. Maybe it's been, a few tweaks here and there. What kinds of salt we like and things like that. Those are more minor things. So I would say those are the major changes. The most important and most recent one being the lecithin, and also the most practical, right? Most people aren't going to be doing salt rubs, or kelp wraps. It's just, it takes too much time. It's too much of a hassle, even though they're very healing. It's just going to be too much for most people. You know what I mean? But the lecithin is like something simple that we can add to programs, and it's not going to really, it's going to help a lot of people. You know what I mean? So that one is good. So let's see if we have any questions. Yeah, olive oil is used a lot in baking. We don't really have any questions here. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, well, I shot a video yesterday for the channel. I'll probably upload it tonight or tomorrow. So you can look forward to that. Next time I do a Q&A, even though I am doing it near the same time, either on Saturday or Sunday morning, I will send out an email. So go down below and sign up for the newsletter. And I will be better about sending out an email the day before. And then not only can you get your questions ready and know when I'm going to go live to answer questions, you can actually email me questions ahead of time, and I'll have a list of questions that I can then go after. Not go after, but go over. And I can answer them one by one. Okay. And also you can leave your questions in the comment section, and then the next Q&A, I will look over them and answer them during the next Q&A, basically, along with the other ones. So we got a question from Music Beast. Is blending your vegetables okay? I imagine that you mean in a blender. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. Don't add really any water. So you can still make it a healthy meal if you want to blend your vegetables. I don't know why you would. Maybe you're making a soup or you have trouble eating them. It's like if you have jaw problems or something. I don't know. But yeah, you can blend your vegetables. It's fine. Just don't add any water, and make it as thick as possible, basically. So it'll be like it won't be like a thin soup, right? It'll be literally like blended vegetables. Okay, so if you cook your vegetables and you steam them until they're soft, you just put those right into the blender, and they already should have enough water content, so that they'll blend basically by themselves, and you don't really have to add much. Okay, if you have to add a liquid to get it to blend, I would add something like, you could add like chicken broth, or you could make bone broth. Bone broth is really healthy. My wife actually made bone broth the other day. But in general, make it as thick as possible. Yeah, I take some water. What do you mean you take water out? Because you have to be careful. If you're like steaming them or boiling your vegetables, those minerals in the water. Okay, so preferably you don't want to get rid of a lot of water. Okay, if you're steaming them, you want to use a little bit of water, and if there's like a little bit of water, you pressure cook. Okay. Okay, and then if you're pressure cooking, are you using, so there's water left over after the pressure cooking? If that's the case, use less water. Practice where you don't need a lot of water. You don't need a lot of water left in Like what I use in my pressure cooker is I use a quarter of a cup of water. So I think it's a quarter of a cup. So you don't need more than a quarter of a cup of water in the pressure cooker. Yeah, you don't need half a cup. That's the problem. You can use a third or a quarter even, and it'll still get pressure. So I would recommend to you, Music Beast, is use a quarter of a cup instead, and then you'll have less water left over, and then take the water and everything and put it into the blender and then blend it up. And it'll still be healthy. It'll be just as good as eating the vegetables like we recommend. You know, it's fine. Yeah, drinking the water later is good too. But you don't need that much water. You don't need half a cup. You only need a half quarter. I guess part of it depends upon the pressure cooker, but I know with mine I only need a quarter of a cup, and it's a pretty big one. Basically, if there's a significant amount of water left over, you can use less. Well, if the vegetables are getting burned, then you use too little water. It's a tricky balance, but you can find, you know, maybe it's a third of a cup for yours, but you should be able to get to where there's either no water left over or there's just a small amount of water left over. Okay, any other questions? Okay, well, that wraps it up. Again, I will try to do the newsletter ahead of next time. If you have any more questions, leave them down below, and I will answer them during the next Q&A. You can also email me your questions, and like I said, I will send out a newsletter a day or two ahead of time, even though it should be around this time again on either Saturday or Sunday next week, and we can hopefully have more questions to answer. Hope this video helps you guys out, and I will talk to you guys later. All right, bye now.